Go live.
You're listening to the Lanterns Radio Network. We are the network dedicated to empowering the individual, illuminating the truth, defending American exceptionalism, and inspiring future generations. Stay connected and get involved at lanterns.buzz for great radio. Get commentary and news of the day. Lanterns.buzz.
You know, I wish we could find some way to hold people accountable. Free speech is a great idea, but we're in a war.
To make sure the economy doesn't collapse, I've abandoned free market principles to save the free market system.
In this present crisis, government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
You're listening to Common Sense Radio with A.J. Davis on the Lanterns Radio Network.
Happy Monday, Susan. How are you?
I am great, AJ. How are you doing?
I am ready to get the listeners prepared for their liberal uncles, liberal aunts, and for them just to shove that turkey bone down their throat. How about you?
Yes, this is the pre-Thanksgiving Day turkey talk. This is all the talking points you're going to need to irritate your liberal relatives. Just so they can choke on the turkey, but no, we don't want them to choke on the turkey. But maybe they'll spit out the mashed potatoes. You know, this is how to have fun at Thanksgiving.
I'm hoping for mashed potatoes to come out and corn out their nose. I'm going to try and Facebook Live those.
Ooh, that's just so sad.
Well, how was your week? How was your week? It's been a week since we've connected. How was your week, Susan?
Oh, you don't want to know. I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
Okay, you weren't around Senator Al Franken, were you?
No, I was not.
Okay.
I didn't even get a kiss from that fish mouth.
Dang it.
No way.
Well, folks, we're gonna cover Senator Al the Groper Franken. We're gonna cover the GOP tax bill that raises taxes, and we're gonna talk about safe cities. You will want to stick around for the entire program tonight. We are gonna have fun, and the hour just goes by like that. So, Susan, do you want to set the stage for? Give the listeners a proper introduction to the whole story with Senator Franken.
Oh yes, the very illustrious Senator Franken. You know, former comedian, Saturday Night Live, smarmy guy. He is now senator from, I think, is it Minnesota?
Yes.
And in any event, he's been caught red-handed, shall we say, red-handed with both hands. Full in the cookie jar. He has been caught in a picture grabbing and kind of cupping, fondling, squeezing the breasts of Leanne Tweeden, who's a radio host in her own right. And he was doing this without consent. You know how we know it's without consent? Because she was asleep. She was absolutely dead asleep.
No.
In a flak jacket. Yeah, no, I know, really, right? It's kind of like, you know, if you're a fraternity man and you get a co-ed totally drunk and she's passed out on the floor and you do some things you shouldn't be able to do to her, well, that's not with her consent, is it? So while Title IX is operating to kick lots of people out of college for, you know, non-consensual groping, Al Franken can get away with it. Just remember that.
Wow. And this is the same Al Franken that, oh wait, he had a second accuser come out today. He also, when the big Alyssa Milano hashtag frenzy of hashtag me too, hashtag her too, came out and said, thanks to courageous people who shared their hashtag me too stories, like Senator Claire McCaskill and Senator Warren and a couple other no-name senators. And then, and here's what's even more ironic, Susie. This is, your head might explode if it wasn't, you had to make it up, is he tweets literally seconds after that is, sexual harassment and violence are unacceptable. We all must do our part to listen, stand with, and support survivors. But his staff is... Okay. I got to get my hashtag mug of wine.
This is like you and Al Franken. I've got to give him the Hillary Hillary Clinton Award. We need to have the nominations for the Hillary Clinton Award. This is the same thing as Hillary Clinton saying that women, abusers of women, the women who accuse men of abusing them, they must be believed. Do you remember that during the campaign?
Oh
last
gosh,
year? She
yes.
came out with that very serious video. This is the woman who led the bimbo eruption to make sure that she could that people would absolutely slam and discredit women that her husband, the rapist in chief, had molested. I mean, she ran the bimbo eruptions, for crying out loud. I mean, that really, truly, Al Franken he's a contender for the Hillary Clinton Sexual Enabler Award, I must say.
Ooh, we're going to have to come up with a trophy or maybe a meme to tweet out at him. I mean, this is the kind of hypocrisy that progressivism has just instilled into everybody. It just drives me bananas. I mean, I'm a boring person. I go on all the Twitter pages. I went on Senator Warren, Clara McCaskill, Hillary Clinton even, and there was not a single Democrat that was calling for his resignation.
Well,
and they won't. You know that, and I know that. They won't.
But you know why? Because he's a Democrat. He is
Yes.
he walks in lockstep, and he will deliver the votes that they want in the Senate. The stupid part of what they're doing, though, the Democrats are playing. They're betting. They're saying, all right, you know what? Our friends in the make-believe media, you know what I call them, make-believe media.
Hashtag.
They make up the news, and then they make you believe it.
Yes.
So the people in the make-believe media are going to run cover for Al Franken. They're going to bury it. They're going to. It's not going to exist. It'll be like it never happened. You're not going to see it on MSNBC, ABC, any of the quote-unquote mainstream. You're not going to see it. They're just going to all pretend. They're going to put their fingers in the air and go, la, 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 too much information, and that's it. And so it'll be left to the new media, the conservative media, talk show, radio, the blogosphere, if you will, to get the information out there. And that's what they're banking on. Because I'll tell you what, if these hashtag Me Too women, and if these award winners for the Hillary Clinton Abusing Award, these people, I'm so Pocahontas. I'm sorry, Senator Warren, give me a break. She can't even pretend that she's white. She has to pretend that she's a Native American Indian. She has to lie about that to get into Harvard, for goodness sakes. But all of them are in what they should be doing. If they had any kind of sense, they would rightfully ask for Al Franken to step aside, get out of there, because Minnesota's governor is a Democrat. He'll appoint someone whose abuses haven't yet been made public.
Did you hear the rumors of who, if he does? Rumor is that Democrats want to push him out because they don't want this political media night storm.
They can't because, look, they're completely hypocrites, right? Hypocrisy, thy name is liberal.
I think they're going to. I really think they're going to push him out.
If they even say anything, to support Al Franken, they cannot then go after Trump, who is their big target, because of potty mouth locker room talk. They can't do it, and they can't go after Roy Moore. What they're doing is they are showing that their attack on Roy Moore lacks substance. What we have is a handful of people, 2 people, I don't know, 3 people who've come out, I suppose, against Roy Moore, saying he said some things, or he might have done some things a long time ago, like 30, 40 years ago, and they never even told even their own mothers, something like that. I don't have all of it straight, but it's a long time ago. We've got Gloria Allred stepping up, but she won't produce the
yearbook.
telltale yearbook signature. It's like Obama's birth certificate. It's out there somewhere, but we can't find it, right? So she can't produce that, and I'm always skeptical when Gloria Allred steps into anything. I roll my eyes and I go, oh, well, there's credibility for you. So they're going to have a real problem, these Democrats, to condemn Roy Moore, who didn't sexually assault anybody. He might have called a girl on the phone, but we can't even tell that, right? And that's 40 years ago. But Al Franken, when we have photographic evidence of him squeezing some girl's chest while she's asleep, that they're going to say that gets a pass. This just illustrates hypocrisy. But pray do tell, what's the latest scoop on Franken and how the Democrats are going to try to push him out? I'd love to hear that. That would prove they have a brain collectively if they did.
Whoa, you are jumping the gun right there. That's not possible. But
that's true.
The rumor, and this is just me all over Twitter, all over the leftist websites, Mother Jones, HuffPost, everything like that. Rumor has it that they're going to try and get Al Franken out, and they're going to appoint the Congressman Keith Ellison, the one representative that has blocked me from Twitter, so I'm all for it.
He likes you, that's why.
You
know what? This is how we could talk. He's just playing hard to get, and when he says no, he means yes.
You know what I might do this week? I might call his office and say, "Is it possible that I can get unblocked from Twitter?" I just want to engage with.
Just do what everybody else. Just reinvent a new Twitter name. There are so many fake Twitter accounts and bots and stuff. That's why all of this whole whenever you hear, well, what exploded on Twitter today, ... that is meaningless. That is absolutely meaningless. There are 12 or 15 pajama-clad liberal whack jobs who run half of Twitter, exploding it with bots and everything else. It's a meaningless statistic to point to Twitter. That is becoming the go-to news for anybody as well. This is what happened on Twitter, and everybody
That's
knows
sad,
there
isn't
are a
it?
bunch of fake accounts and a bunch of bots running it.
Yeah. Hey, I got a clip of Senator Groper. I want to play for you. So go ahead and here you go.
Donald Trump claiming the things he said on that bus were locker room talk. Do you have any thoughts about that?
I've been in a lot of locker rooms.
Mm-hmm.
I belong to a health club in Minneapolis. I think you can tell.
Yeah, we can tell.
And our locker room banter is stuff like, is Trump crazy? And so I don't know what locker room. He may work out with Roger Ailes, and they may.
That would be a different locker room.
But I think these stories are going to make it hard for Trump to focus on his message that he knows nothing about public policy.
You think that will get lost, that he knows nothing about public policy?
Yes, and I worry about that.
Yeah. That's very nice of you.
That's a fantastic clip from during the election. Senator Franken talking with Seth Meyers. Oh, gosh. I mean, this is the wonderful thing about the internet. What's that?
Go right ahead. What's the wonderful thing about internet, AJ? Do tell.
I want to tell you is there's an article at zerohedge.com that people can look up, and we'll go ahead and send out, we'll tweet them out, share them on Common Sense Radio Facebook page. Internet crackdown begins. Senator Al Franken wants Google, Facebook, and Twitter censor political speech. So do you think that tweet and that picture would constitute political speech? I just wanted to get because you are a lawyer, so I just want to get your perspective from that. I just saw that. When you saw that, didn't you just go, "Oh my goodness"?
Yes, and the sad thing is that this little story, Tyler Durden he's so good. He's the guy at Zero Hedge, and this is posted several days. This is November 13th. This is before the Al Franken thing
even broke.
Before Leanne Tweeden came out and said, not only did this guy insist on rehearsing a stage kiss, and then when we rehearsed it, he grabbed the back of my neck and just stuck his tongue all the way down my throat. It was just gross. I had only agreed to practice the rehearsal kiss because we were doing a USO show. He said he wrote the script and that he insisted that we all of us, big time people in the media, we rehearse everything, even the kiss. And he kept badgering her until the point where she was like, okay, fine, we'll just do this, whatever. And then he goes and grabs her and does this, this mauling kiss on her. And now, but before that happened, the Zero Hedge thing had come out, and Tyler Durden, of course, he's over at Zero Hedge, and he said that Senator Al Franken was demanding that Google, Facebook, and Twitter censor political speech. Well, isn't that really? Yeah, that's nice.
What a coinky-dink.
picture of me out there on Twitter. You Facebook and Twitter and Google people, you should censor this political speech because, political speech is dangerous. It might change the way elections go. That's the heart, by the way, political speech. That is the heart of the First Amendment. The whole idea of the First Amendment is to protect certain kinds of speech. Not all parts of speech are equal, okay? If the old line goes, you can't shout fire in a crowded theater, all right? If you do that and it's false, it's a lie, then you're stampeding people, you're panicking people. That type of speech is not, protected because of the harm that it can do. Likewise, slander, anything that is untrue, slander, libel, those types of speech are of course discouraged as well. There's laws about them. In other words, they're not protected politically, but the most important speech to protect is political speech, political debate. When you and I are expressing our opinions, we have the most amount of protection under our Constitution. Why? Because we value ideas. We value
it's the most important thing, even with the speech that you disagree with. It's absolutely. So, Susan, let's do this. Let's go ahead and take a break. And on the other side of the break, we'll come back and we will talk about the wonderful GOP tax plan. How does that sound? I think it sounds great.
Sounds like a good plan.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All right, you're listening to Common Sense Radio on the Lanterns Radio Network.
You're listening to the Lanterns Radio Network. We are the network dedicated to empowering the individual, illuminating the truth, defending American exceptionalism, and inspiring future generations. Stay connected and get involved at lanterns.buzz for great radio. Get commentary and news of the day. Lanterns.buzz.
In every rising of the sun, my purpose was to be thankful to be alive. I was even more thankful for the blessings that came with this life, specifically Virdis, my wife. But that came to an end when Aklavane and her minions violently took her away from me. So my new purpose in this life is to gather all the pieces of the Stone's Heart so I can defeat Aklavane and get back my bride. Join me as I travel to new worlds, making new friends and avoiding old enemies. Read more about my story in the first 2 books of the Stone's Heart series, which are now available on Amazon.com in Kindle format. The first book is The Quest for Savit Varda, and that is followed by The Heart of Pagaila. Stone's Heart is more than a fantasy and a sci-fi quest. It's me fighting to get back my precious wife, despite the overwhelming odds against me. Stone's Heart. Join, explore, and believe.
I cannot wait for Thanksgiving. What about you, Susan?
Well, I'm doing all the cooking, so.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah, no,
that's my male white privilege that I have. I'm so sorry.
You're triggering me. That's what you're doing.
Triggering you. Anyways.
It's like mansplaining for Turkey Day. It's like, yeah, I know what you guys get to do. You eat it all, and then you go fall asleep on the couch, and I have to clean it up. No.
Anyways, folks, welcome back to the program. You're listening to Common Sense Radio on the Lanterns Radio Network. We have 3 hashtags that we like to use. We use hashtag Common Sense Radio, hashtag Mug of Wine. Susan, do you have your wine? Your mug of wine?
I always have my mug of wine.
Okay, good. And also, my favorite hashtag, and that's the name of the show tonight, hashtag Make Believe Media. Because we're going to bring you the news that the mainstream media is not bringing because they are all biased. They're all hypocrites.
They are. You know what? I made up that hashtag in shortly after in 2009, after I had called into the Rush Limbaugh show and had talked to him and been very passionate, et cetera, et cetera. And it occurred to me that he has the term, drive-by media. And it just I started thinking in my head, I said but that doesn't really capture it for me. There's got to be a clever way of explaining what the media does. And it took me about a week, and I would just I'd go to sleep and try to think about it and play around with different, words. And it finally came to me that it's the make-believe media, because the media, they make up the news and then they make you believe it with their polls and their things. That's why they do polling. They do a poll, and I used to, when I was a very young, sweet 20-ish something college co-ed, and I needed, to make a little bit of money on the side. I worked for the Los Angeles Times newspaper as a pollster, a person who would get on the phone, and they would give you a long script so that you ask the questions and record the answers. And this is back in the day with paper and all that kind of good stuff. Anyway, you could not deviate from the script, of course, because that would throw off the very delicate balance of the poll and making sure that it was scientific, right? So you could not
we
deviate
couldn't do
from the
that.
script. Oh, yeah. But what I learned very quickly, because the way that they would phrase the question would tend to lead people toward a kind of an answer. You could say, well, you don't favor, I don't know, you don't favor, for instance, I could say, you would never favor killing a newborn baby, would you? Well, no, of course I wouldn't, right? That would be maybe a very, very pro-life slant to a question. But the other side could say, well, you support a woman's right to, freedom of her body, don't you? Stuff like that. I'm making it much more obvious, but they would always have a slant, a left-wing slant in their questions. And I knew I could not change a word of the question. I couldn't, because then I would be,
because you have a conscience.
I would be throwing, the poll. So what I would do, though, when I would talk to people on the phone, I knew how to emphasize certain words, just like I'm doing with you now. I'm being a little bit funny with my voice, but I would emphasize or put pauses in, or repeat something. If they say, well, what was that? Then I would repeat it very, very slowly, so that sometimes they would say, oh, I see, and they would give the answer that they really intended, because I could tell from after talking to them, how they were going with respect to certain questions. And so I was able to get them to be able to understand the question better. So even in the polls, they ask these slanted, weirdo little questions. They want to get a result. These mainstream that they want to get a poll that says, yes, 75% of viewers hate Donald Trump's hair, or whatever it is. His approval rating has dropped into the toilet again. That's what they want to be able to say. All they have to do is figure out a way to either pick the number of people in the pool or slant the questions, and then they report that as news. That's why they go to Twitter, because they can say Twitter is exploding over Trump's latest tweet, and then everybody clicks on the article.
Oh gosh, that's all that's on the news right now is Trump's tweet.
Like that's news.
I know. I got something. I want to give a shout out to our good friend over at Battle for Freedom, Watson Prunier. He's live tweeting and listening to us right now, and he said that you triggered him, Susan, because the assumption that all people have turkey for Thanksgiving. So I responded back to him. I said, "What do you eat then?" We'll see. Watson, go ahead, tweet us at. Let's get to the GOP tax bill. And the original name that for the tax bill was Cut Act. I mean,
no way.
Yes, that was the original name.
Really?
And yes.
You're just funning with me.
I'm not funning with you. No, Paul Ryan, his button-up self, he could not have something like that. We had to have the Tax Reform and Jobs Act, the 429-page long, full of pork.
And they raise taxes.
Hey, we got to wait till the end of the segment to tell them. Don't give them all of our thunder. I'm teasing with you.
You're breaking up. I'm sorry, AJ.
I'm sorry. So one of the things that I think that is very interesting is the bill is 429 pages long. It's full of pork. Why do we not have bills that are between 12 and 20 pages long? That's one of the things that just drives me nuts.
Okay, here's why. Because House and Senate are paid by the word. Like housing, okay?
They're paid by the word and the tweet that they send out, right?
That's right.
So one of the things that I really got into, I sent you over the policy highlights, and I was just looking at the sections in this bill. Why do we have to focus on different things? I mean, you see all the news reports. We're going to repeal the individual mandate. Blah, blah, blah this, blah, blah that. I'm sorry.
Explain it to them. because people aren't seeing what we're looking at. So let's explain a couple of the highlights that you're talking about so that they understand.
Yes, I'm jumping the gun. The section 1202, the consolidation of education saving rules. And then the exact following one was reforms to discharge of certain student loan indebtedness, and then repeal of other provisions relating to education in a tax bill. But my favorite, which I think you will agree with me, is 3604. No tax-exempt bonds for professional stadiums.
Yay!
Isn't that wonderful?
I agree on that. Yay! Thank you. Let's not get tax-exempt bonds for professional stadiums. I think professional stadiums should pay for their own stuff. They're already getting all kinds of bond deals from their states or their cities. I mean, that's what bond lawyers do all day long. Just make sure that they get, bonds for, the next latest building project. I like the idea, no tax-exempt bonds for professional stadiums. I think we can finally rally around something in the latest tax bill, can't you?
That's about one of the only things, and repeal of the individual mandate. I mean, I guess
exactly.
that's a tax right there, because remember, they argued in front of the Supreme Court, this is a tax, so I was wrong there, yeah. But why are we talking education in there? I mean, seriously.
The huge thing, this is not a perfect bill. We're not going to get a perfect bill. You know why? We have 52 or 53. Some of them are rhinos in the GOP in the Senate, and they're going to bollocks up the work. Like McCain's, I'm sure, going to probably oppose this for some reason, just because he's that kind of a guy. But what this tax bill does have in it right now is a repeal of the Obamacare tax mandate. You cannot overemphasize how huge that is.
That's ginormous.
Because that will drive a stake through the financial heart of Obamacare. That is the way to basically repeal the money of Obamacare. And that's why the liberals are going to come unglued about it. So you know what? Okay, I know it shrinks 7 brackets down to 4. It still raises taxes on the rich, and it doesn't do everything we want. It does repeal the death tax after 7 years. It raises it from like, is it $1 million? It raises it up to $2 million.
I thought it was up to 5, but anyways, that's
death
nothing.
Tax initially, and then it repeals it in 7 years. So those are all good things. They're not. We'd like it to just. What I'd like them to do.
Repeal it completely.
Entire tax code and say everybody has to pay 10% tax. Period. Send it in. That's it. No deductions, no nothing. The 2 deductions that they would have to phase out, they'd have to phase out over time. The mortgage interest deduction, because so many of us have bought houses and paid for them thinking, well, we can depreciate the interest. That's one thing that you would absolutely tank the housing market if you messed with it. Mm-hmm. So there's only a handful of things like that they'd have to grandfather in. But at least this is a great start if they can hold it together, because it will kill Obamacare. It'll kill the funding of Obamacare, since Chief Justice Roberts called it a tax.
Yep.
Still mad at that man. So that's a really good thing.
They had something on him, I swear. They had something on him.
Well, whatever they did, he's a sitting Supreme Court justice, and you know what he did? He handballed it right. Look, this is all fair and love in government, all right? He handballed it right back to the legislature. They were trying to say, "Oh, just solve it for us. Just repeal it, okay? Just we couldn't stop it, and those mean Democrats, they passed it. So you judge, you just make it go away, okay?" And he said, "You guys." Man up, grow a set. I'm going to call it a tax. You guys want to repeal it? You go right ahead. That's your job, legislature. You guys can make the laws and you can repeal them. Don't just keep dropping them on us, the Supreme Court, and expect you to do your dirty work. So I get that. Now it's finally, and here's the telltale part of all of this. Look, we now, for the first time in an age, we have the House, the Senate, and the White House. We've got a guy in the White House. He'll sign anything because he wants to be the deal maker, right? The guy with the orange hair, the yellow hair, whatever. He'll sign it. And
Cheeto hands.
What are we doing? We're doing absolutely nothing. We haven't repealed Obamacare, and all they're doing is infighting. And John McCain is strutting around like a stuffed turkey, making himself the second president of the United States, and nothing is getting done. And that's on the GOP, specifically Mitch McConnell and the rhinos in the Senate. Thank you very much.
Yes, and that's where the bill is at right now, is with the Senate. And I was listening to some of the Facebook Live videos that the Democrats pushed out between Ron Wyden and Horton Hatch. the guy that has Alzheimer's. Oops, I shouldn't say that out loud, should I? He's the elder statesman of the Senate, and
it
he's
sounds like Nancy Pelosi. She probably has it too. Poor thing. I mean,
It's amazing, and you're absolutely 100% correct, Susan. It is the rhinos, the elitist, the status quo. That's whenever people like John McCain get up in front of the chambers and say, "We need to return to regular order. We need to return to regular order." All he cares about is being a war hawk and helping his progressive buddies on the left advance their agenda. I can tell you that.
That's going to be for another time. I'm going to bring up the research on Senator John McCain, and I'm going to remind people the real facts behind his record in the Senate and his record during the war, because it's not the way most people think about it. That's another.
We need to do that around election time. Yeah, I was just shocked that this bill was 429 pages. We were talking.
Obamacare was like over 2,000.
I know. But you were telling me
for it before you can see what's in it.
Oh, I have that audio too. No, I won't play it tonight. I won't.
Did I sound good?
You do a good impersonation of her. But you were telling me a story about how in court you can only have up to 100 pages, but we can have these kind of pages for the. You know what I mean? It's amazing.
What I was saying. It's about usually like the limit on motions that you're going before court. It's usually like 30 pages, okay, of actual your argument. Now, yes, you can then petition for leave of court and say, well, we need a few more pages, so that you can get it to be longer. But typically you're talking about 30 pages. And so in 30 pages, or I can't imagine much more than that. So you're going to have 30 pages. You can change a law. You can make such a persuasive court that the court will agree with you and maybe even change the law, right?
Yeah.
But here we've got, how many lawyers do we have in the Senate and the House combined, right? Their lawyers run amok in there, and you get enough lawyers in the room, and what do you end up with? You end up with 2,000 pages of Obamacare and another 1,000 pages of tax reform. Look, that's what part of the problem is. The first thing that if the Congress really wanted to do its job, the very first bill they should pass is, look, bills that come through Congress, they can be of one subject only. You can't keep dumping pork in them. That'd be one thing, right? And they have to have a page number limit or a word number limit. You say you can't go more than 5,000 words. Period. That's it. If you can't get the concept of your new law over in those few number of words, then you need to put it in another bill. And then just it would make it more coherent for anybody to be able to read the bills. Who's going to read 429 pages? I doubt the Senate or the House have. Usually
none
they're
of
all
them
in their
do.
little back rooms, kind of getting together, saying, "Well, I think we should vote. Or what do you think?" And it's all politics. Nobody's reading the bills because they're too darn long. That helps the establishment.
Yes.
So is it any wonder that they haven't shortened the bills? No, of course it isn't.
My only guess, and this is just me I'm taking a guess, Susan, you would know probably, is maybe the font on these bills are, at 72. That's my guess. Because they're all okay, the House is buying 3 Chevrolets for our maids. That's one page.
I don't know, but look, like a good liberal, if I don't know the answer, I can make it up, right?
That's true. You are right. Well, it's we're going to get ready to take a break here. I'm so glad that we covered the wonderful things that we found in the tax bill, aren't you? I mean, it's just fantastic. The education stuff and the repeal of the individual mandate is huge. Wouldn't you agree?
It's like the old joke. When you have an ocean liner of 100 lawyers and it sinks to the bottom of the ocean, what do you call that? A good start. So that's what I can make lawyer jokes. I'm a lawyer. I can do that.
You're good at that.
The tax bill that's at least that the House has passed and is sent to the Senate, it is a good start. It's a good thing. It should be passed. We could do a whole lot better, but you know what we're going to do to have to do a lot better?
We got to start with something.
That's what has to happen. Now, let's take our break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about all the fun things like immigration and illegal immigration, and how come we're paying for lawyers to help illegal immigrants go to court.
Ooh. And that more on this episode of Common Sense Radio on the Lanterns Radio Network.
Hi, we're the Bells of Liberty. You can listen to us on Lanterns Radio Network.
New shows air every Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern.
You can find us on Spreaker, SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, and iHeartRadio, and on Twitter at Bells of Liberty. See you then.
Hi, it's Blake Johnson, and you can listen to my show, The Blake Johnson Program, every Monday evening at 9/8 Central on lanterns.buzz. Here, I'll delve into the news of the day and anything related to politics, movies, music, faith, and more. Nothing is off limits. This is our meeting ground for conservatives, libertarians, Christians, all liberty lovers. The Blake Johnson Program, every Monday evening at 9/8 Central, only on lanterns.buzz.
Hey everybody, I'm Matt Holloway, host of the HoloNet podcast on the Lanterns Media Network from Phoenix, Arizona. And you can catch our show every week live at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. For those of you who live in Central Time, I don't know what that is because I don't feel like doing math. No, I'm kidding. It's 6 p.m. Central Time, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, every Sunday here on the Lanterns Media Network, where we hold the line against the night and lift up our light to shine it into the darkness. Don't miss it. Again, that's the HoloNet podcast here on the Lanterns Media Network.
Hello, America. Michael Murphy, Voice of Reason here. I hope you'll join me Thursday evenings live at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. See you there.
Welcome back to the program, folks. You're listening to Common Sense Radio on the Lanterns Radio Network. Susan, can you tell everybody where they can find you on social media?
You can find me on social media at Real Susan Swift. At Real Susan Swift. You can go through my website too, which is susanswift.net. Susanswift.net.
Awesome. And you can find me on Twitter at Oregon Redskin and Common Sense Radio under Facebook. You can just type that in, and we are the ones that will pull up on there. So this, the last segment, we told you we wanted to talk about lawyer defense funds for non-citizens. I mean, how should we describe? Should non-citizens, international travelers, or illegal immigrants? How do you want to talk about it?
Well, you know what? If you're breaking a law, that means you're a criminal, right? If you cross the border illegally, that means you're breaking the law. So these are illegal immigrants. I know we're not
okay.
PC,
Okay, I won't be PC.
You are if you're breaking the law, and you're not a native, citizen, here rightfully to be here. Then you're an illegal immigrant because you're immigrating here, but you're not doing it legally. We have legal procedures. And all you have to do is follow the rules. And I'm a big believer. Everybody, one law, one nation. We all follow the same laws. And you know what? We wouldn't have as much balkanization and angry feelings and just irritation, because if we all have one law is it's like patriotism. It is a unifying force. If you have one law and everyone follows it, at least we all know that we have come through the same gate. We are all the same level, the same legitimacy. That's like patriotism. I was telling you about this offline. Patriotism is a uniting force. In a nation, when you have different cultures, different ethnicities, different backgrounds, patriotism unites all of the differences into one, because we are all proud and we all share the same love for our new country, whether it's adopted because we just moved here and we came here, to become a citizen, or because we were born here and we've been raised here. But that patriotism is a uniting force. And that is why liberals hate patriotism, and they hate the flag, and they want to destroy it because they want to divide. They want to break us up along lines of race and ethnicity and financial things. They want to destroy patriotism. That's why they don't like the whole notion of Trump running on a nationalistic, patriotic platform, because that tends to unite people. If we can set aside our petty differences for one flag, one country, the notion that America is a great nation and that by and large she has done more for this world than any other nation in history, which is very true. We've liberated Europe, we've saved an entire, religion. We've saved Judaism. We saved many people who would have been killed in World War II. And that is, we've all done it in the word of freedom. We believe that, and it's been an imperfect walk to get to the point that we're at right now, but our Constitution has said from its founding that we believe in inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for all men, for every race and creed, and we have fought for that. And that is such a noble gift
Absolutely.
to the world, and it has improved. Our country has improved the nation, the world's all across the nation. That's why, you name it, whether we rebuilt Japan after the end of World War II. We've rehabilitated Europe. We've done so much, and that patriotism should be a point of pride. That's why liberals hate it, and they want to destroy it. They want to poo-poo it. That's why they've got people kneeling in the NFL. They kneel, they take a knee because our national anthem is it's a symbol of racism and oppression. No, it's not. It's actually a symbol of freedom and of men and women dying to protect freedom around the globe. That's what our flag stands for. That's what our
laws
anthem
stand
stands
for. Yep.
That's what it stands for. So one nation under God, one law, one patriotic feeling, those are unifiers, and it gives every person across the world. That's why they want to come here. They want to be part of it, and they get here and they have pride to be an American citizen. So if you can erode that, well, hey, all the better, because then I'll get you to vote for me if I'm a Democrat. What the Democrats are doing to get to this immigration business, they are seeking to import mostly poor, uneducated, and definitely socialist peoples. Okay, now they're going to an easy place to get them. A lot of times they don't mind if you were truly socialist and you were coming from, I don't know, a Denmark or something. If we could get a whole lot of Danes in here who were really truly hardcore socialists, the Democrats wouldn't mind. They'd be fine with it, because what they want are people who are a little bit ignorant and not facile with the notion of dealing with a government. What they want are people with their hands out. I'm a little bit poor and I'm a little desperate and I need to depend on, Papa government. You come to me, I take care of you. You come to me, you vote for me, I'll give you an EBT card. And you know what else? I'll give you a free phone. And guess what? Once you have your phone, you can check your balance on your EBT card. Did you know that? You pointed that out to me, AJ.
Mm-hmm.
You found the app. There's an app, folks. You can check your EBT balance, your welfare balance, your free welfare money from the government, right? Your social, welfare benefit from your state on EBT. You can go down, load it onto your $600 iPhone, and you can check your food balance at EBT. You can check your welfare balance on your phone. All you have to do is go get your phone from Obama, right? If you still have your free phone from Obamacare days, you can go check your EBT balance. Only in America. We are such a rich nation that the poor who are on social assistance can check their balance on their phones. Give me a break.
You can't make this stuff up if you were paid to. You really couldn't. And I'm tweeting that out with the hashtag Common Sense Radio and our favorite hashtag Make Believe Media. So the next thing that we want to dive into is the safe cities. Where is that? Let me pull that up.
This is also about immigration. So we've got a whole bunch of this is kind of like safe spaces in school, and if you need a hug, you can go to a safe space. Okay, so now if you're an illegal immigrant, right, you've broken the law, you've come across the border and you're hiding from ICE or whoever it is, you can go to a safe space. It's a whole safe city, and they're liberal cities all around the United States. California is a whole liberal safe state.
And the acronym for it is Safety and Fairness for Everyone's Cities. And the cities and counties making up are Atlanta, Austin, Baltimore, Chicago, Columbus, Ohio, Dane County, Wisconsin, Oakland, California, Prince George's County, Maryland, Sacramento, San Antonio, and should be close to you, Santa Ana, California. Is that close to you, Susan?
Yeah, it's close enough to smell it. Yeah.
And late last year and earlier this year, lawmakers in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Washington, D.C., and New York decided to allocate public funds for defense and immigration courts, while New York State created the first statewide immigrant defense fund.
Now, you know what? Now, let's translate that for people who are just, sitting on the beach in Santa Monica, right? And they don't know what that means. That means your taxpayer dollars, instead of going to, clean the streets or pay for police,
homeless,
or, hey, pay for EBT, right? So that you can check it on your phone, right? Instead of that, where are those dollars going? They're going to the pockets of immigration lawyers. They're going into the pockets of lawyers so that these lawyers can represent illegal immigrants to help these illegal immigrants stay here longer. Did you get that?
Got that.
That's where your money is going, your taxpayer dollars. So when you get your little W-9 there, and when you get your pay stub every 2 weeks, and there's a big chunk out of it from the state, some of that money is going to a lawyer to represent somebody who broke the law to get here.
That is just agonizing.
Well, it just tells you how much money we really do have in our tax. I mean, that's a pretty cushy
I saw
taxes, right?
I saw an article, Seattle Times, that Seattle had pulled aside $1 million for this defense fund. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of money. I mean, how many apps can you develop for your EBT with that?
Yeah, well, exactly. Why don't you just give it to the illegal immigrants? If they've got that kind of money, they might not need lawyers. I mean, they don't even have to have jobs. They don't even need to have EBT. But you know what? The dirty secret is, it's all going to the lawyers.
Yeah, that's what people aren't
lawyers,
understanding.
The plaintiffs' bar and stuff. These are the same lawyers who are helping the legislatures get back, get their money back and get reelected and stuff. It's very incestuous. So, just vote for me, and I'll make sure, you plaintiffs' bar, you vote for me, and I'll make sure we'll have a fund of money to pay you lawyers to represent illegals. And you know what? I will then declare my city a safe space so that more illegals will come here to give you more money that we're going to take from taxpayers. Ha, ha, ha.
And some cities aren't saying a safe space. The city that I live in had a city council meeting that they wanted to make a aspirational resolution and
what is
make
that? That sounds like maybe they're hawking a loogie.
Can I play you a clip of the audio that I have for that? I think you've heard it. You'll love it. Go ahead and listen here, guys.
AJ Davis, P.O. Box 212. And my question, it's not a comment, it's a question for you, Mayor. What will this ordinance change that the city is not already practicing?
It just puts it in writing so that our future people that, as
What
our
people?
terms...
What people are you talking about, Mayor?
Well, as our terms end, they may or may not run for their seat again. There may be new people that will come to this council and sit up here, and then that will be in place, and they will be shown that, and it will carry on, hopefully.
I don't think you answered my question. Well, but what does it change that the city's not already practicing? Why does it need to be an ordinance?
Mayor,
what
you might defer to law.
That's probably a good idea.
Well, first of all, it's not a debate. Okay,
No, it's not a debate.
As I said, this is an aspirational statement. It is not amending any city ordinance to answer that question. It is setting out a statement of intent by this council to treat essentially all comers equally, without prejudice or discrimination. It's also specifically stating an intent to comply with state law as it relates to the enforcement of federal immigration law. That's the bottom line of this.
That's the bottom line of it, Susan. That's the bottom line of it.
I got that. The bottom line is we will now start treating people without discrimination. Okay, when did you stop beating your wife? That's what I'd like to ask this guy. When did you stop finally treating these people
with discrimination. When did you stop? When did you start obeying? Federal immigration law. What? These people. What that was is we're going to spend a lot of taxpayers' dollars to create an aspirational statement of intent so that we feel better and that we look like we are doing our jobs. And later, when future people come up here and sit up where we are, they will know that we were here and that we did something.
You wouldn't believe it. When I went to this meeting, I took my sister-in-law with me just to make sure I had a witness in case anything, because I am a pariah in my community because I fought the city on the pool bond and got it failed the first time. Anyways, that was a sidebar. There was women that came up into the meeting and said they had these prepared statements. They went onto the local feminist websites to find out, and the white hating pages. And a lady, I'd never seen her in my life. I am a white woman of privilege, and I don't understand what these people are going through. These people, that was a comment that kept coming from many people at this meeting. These people.
What a racist statement.
I know.
People.
It was
I'm a privileged
unbelievable.
White woman, and I don't know what these people are going through. Oh my! She is a woman of privilege, and she doesn't even know. She doesn't even sense her own hypocrisy. That's so sad. But I do have to correct you on one tiny little thing.
Okay,
AJ.
I guess.
You said that some lady came up. Well, I gotta remind you. You know that she's a woman, but you don't know if she's a lady.
That's true. I don't know if
Just
she even
saying.
identifies as a lady or as a
saying,
woman.
There's a difference between ladies and women. We got lots of women out there. They're not all ladies.
Well, I'm surprised they didn't say future people. That's just my. Oh, I dropped the bomb on that one, didn't I? Oh, the people that live here in progressive Carlton, that's where I live, are big into winery. There's like 42, 46 wineries here in town. And when people got up in this, like I said, people were talking about their white privilege. They were talking about this and that nonsense that we were wasting a city council meeting for. I mean, they had to pull all the chairs up, and we were shoulder to shoulder. That's how packed. And the room was maybe 800 square feet at the most. It wasn't much, but I mean, people were shoulder to shoulder talking about this. And over again, people would get up there and say, these people, they would say, they're not taking breaks, they're not taking lunches, and we want people to come here and not feel discriminated against in Carlton. Well, rumor had it, well, this isn't a rumor, truth had it, that over the last harvest season, they had a problem picking their grapes. So those people, I'm assuming, are the immigrants that they were hiring, the illegal, the grape pickers, yes.
The grape pickers. All right. Are they legal grape pickers or are they illegal grape pickers? I don't care if they're grape pickers or not, and I don't call them these people or those people. I just want to know if they're here legally. And if they're here legally, more power to them. And pick away, please. If you're here illegally, I just want you to obey the law. Is that asking so much? I'm expecting my kids to obey the law. I'm expecting that I should obey the law, and I should be respectful and obey all of the laws. If I'm not, I should be thrown in jail. So why am I using a different standard on different people? Isn't that kind of racist?
I think
to
so.
Expect other people's to not be able to obey the same laws that I am. But again, we all know why this is happening. The Democrats need to import voters. That's what they want. And what they try to do, first you got to import them illegally, and then you have to wave a magic wand, like they did with Reagan. They got Reagan to go along with it, which to say, okay, amnesty, one time, one and done, amnesty for everyone, and this will then end. And of course it didn't, because why? Democrats need an infusion of voters because they can't win at the ballot box. They have to lie, or they have to go to the courts and get things redefined or re-legislated by the judiciary. They can't win at the ballot box. They've been losing steadily for years, and Hillary's election.
Absolutely. Anyways, we're out of time tonight, Susan. So glad to have you all here tonight. For anything else, to get in contact with us, at Susan Swift on Twitter, at Oregon Redskin with me. Thanks a bunch, and hope you all have a great week.
You're listening to the Lanterns Radio Network. We are the network dedicated to empowering the individual, illuminating the truth, defending American exceptionalism, and inspiring future generations. Stay connected and get involved at lanterns.buzz. For great radio, get commentary and news of the day. Lanterns.buzz.